Hello, my name is Amber Kelly, and this is Things of the Things. Today we are going to be making this beanie. If you follow my page, Things of the Things, you would have seen that I posted this, and I am in a couple of looming groups. So I have posted this in those groups as well, and I have gotten a response that everybody wants to know how to do this hat. Well, I have a bad habit of doing hats, and I don't count my rows, so it's very much easier to explain it in video form. So today we're going to be making this hat. This is a crochet cast on. So if you watched my last video, I did do a beanie that had a crochet cast on. So you can go back and look at that video, or you can stick around here. I hope that you all would subscribe. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers, so let's still reach for that goal. Now we're gonna go over what are materials that you need. So I'm gonna set this to the side. First of all, you're gonna use some yarn. This is Craft Smart. You can get this from your local Michael's, Joann's, wherever you shop. You can get that from there. I'm going to be using one skein, and I'm going to be using one end coming from here and the other end coming from the outside, just because I don't want to use two skeins of yarn. If you need to use two skeins of yarn, then that is perfectly fine as well. So you're going to need either one or two skeins of yarn, and this weight is a number 4, and I always double my number 4s. And this color is called Giverny. I'll show that. Hopefully it's focused. You're going to need your hook. You're going to need your row counter. Again, you can get this from your local craft store. Now, according to what size hat you want to make, you don't necessarily have to use this 41 peg loom, but today we're going to use a 41 peg loom, and this is a nifty knitter, and I have pre-did the stitch markers. I do make my own stitch markers. I just had this on here because I was trying to whip up something really quick. But as you can see, it's knit 2, so you're gonna have 2 that have stitch markers on them. 3 of them won't. 2 of them will. Empty. 2 of them will. Empty. And you just do that all the way around until you come back here, and these 2 will be empty. So while you gather your materials, we will be right back. Okay, we're back. So if you have all the materials, now you're ready to get started. Like I said, I grabbed a piece of yarn from the outside of this, and also that dreaded part of the yarn, the inside part. But like I said, you can use 2 skeins of yarn. Does not matter. Whatever is more comfortable and convenient for you. So now we're going to do the crochet chain cast on. I did a previous video about this, so if you did not see the previous video, which you should have, I'm going to do it again. Okay, so like I said, we're just going to make a slip knot. This can work with a size 5 yarn. Now anything over 4, you do not want to double. Okay, so we're just going to leave that just like that. Look like you got 2 loops. So we're going to do it on the first one that has the peg. We're just going to pull that. See, right where you would have just made it a knot. We're not going to do that. So you're still pulling the other side. So what you're going to do is have your free yarn over here, and you're going to take the loop behind it and grab your free yarn and pull it. Now you don't have to pull the loop this long, but I tend to do that, so don't pay me no mind. Like I said, take it behind all the way around, kind of pull it a little bit. And like I said, this is more so like this is a brimless hat. That way your hat will not roll. So if you do a crochet cast on, this will stop your hat from rolling. And also another way to do for your hat not to roll would be a alternate between knit one, purl one, and that would be the garter stitch. So just pull it behind, grab that yarn, pull behind, pull. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, but if you just keep going all the way around, and I will come back when we get next to the last peg. Okay, so now we're back at this row. So this is the empty peg that is next to the one where we started. So we would normally just keep going, put it behind that peg, grab that free yarn, pull it, and instead of just leaving the yarn in front, we're going to put it behind it and set that yarn on there just like that. I'll take it off. So the yarn is right here, so we're going to put it behind that peg. Put the loops on top, pull it, and there you go. You are now ready to knit and purl. So we're just going to knit that off, and you're going to pull that yarn. That way it is not loose. That yarn should be right here. So we're just going to pull it. Now your cast on is on. Okay, so for the first couple of rows, like I said, we're going to do this together. So I'm going to grab my stitch marker counter, and I'm just going to put it on my hand. And if you don't have one of these, you can use, they have apps on your phone for row counters. I think I said stitch markers, but it's a row counter. So I need to make sure it's at 0. Okay, and I'm just going to follow the pattern. I'm not going to change it up yet until after I have done some rows. So like I said, we are just going to do what we do. So these two, I'm starting off, we're going to knit. So I already knitted this one off. We're going to knit this one. And you can use a solid color if you want, but as soon as I knit that first one off, I'm going to number that as my first row. So this is row number 1. Okay, and like I said, it's knit 2, purl 2. So we're just going to do your regular routine. We're not changing up anything yet. I will be doing a beginner's hat tutorial. So knit 2. I will be doing the knitter's hat tutorial for beginners. So if you know someone that is a beginner or that would like to learn how to loom, the next video would be a good video. I do have videos on the best and the worst looms, so you can save yourself some money and look at those videos. That way you do not get the bad looms. Everybody's opinion is different. I know for me, I cannot handle boyd looms. Some people love them, some people hate them. I am not a fan of it just because the pegs pop out too much. So, yes. And also, you can use a solid color. You don't have to use this color that I'm using. I just picked up something off my shelf because this was kind of like an impromptu video because I didn't know I was going to get up and do this. I was planning on doing this weekend, so yeah. But like I said, we're going to do this all the way around, and every time you hit that peg where we first started, that will be the beginning of a new row. So I'm going to show you how I hit the row counter again, and then when I've done my rows, I will come back and let you all know. I do advise that you do watch this tutorial first before you start. They do have an option where you can slow this down if it's too fast. They have an option where you can speed it up if it's too slow. But I highly recommend that you watch the video entirely first before you start. And like I said, I will list my Etsy at the bottom in case you are wanting stitch markers. Like I said, I do make my own stitch markers. I just have these on here because this was an impromptu video. So now we're back where we first started. Normally I would not, people tell you not to start where you start where you ended, or start where you start. So this is where I started. So because this is a crochet chain cast on, it's not going to matter. So I'm back at this row, this peg again. This is where you know you need to hit your row counter again for 2 rows. So I'm going to do a couple more rows of this, and then I will come back and we will have our first row. Okay, we are back. So you should have 11 rows of knit 2, purl 2. And I need to add another little note right here where you were knitting 2. You see you have 3 right here that does not have a ring on them at all, and you have 2 rings on here with the 41 peg loom. It will be because it is an odd number, you will have an extra peg left over. So all 3 of these you were supposed to purl. Okay, so now that we have done 11 rows, we are going to get you a little sticky note or something, and just write down that you had 11. So I know I had 11. I'm going to say brim, but it's not a brim, so I'm going to say 11. Okay, now you need to start this over. Okay, so after you have wrote down, this would be considered a brimless hat, so you just put down 11 because that's what you did for your first set. So we're going to reset this. Now it's back at 0, and now we're going to change the pattern. So we have done this. Now we need to do this. So put this on our finger. Okay, so move this to the side. Okay, so because we did knit here, we're going to do the opposite. So for now, the ones that have the stitch markers on them, you're going to purl them. When we first started this, which got us this, we were knitting this, but because we're going to alternate now, we're going to purl these. So what you're going to do is, now we are right here, you are going to pick your old loop up, pick up the new, take it off, pull, and that is considered your first row. So again, we're going to purl. Now you're going to knit all three because we have a odd peg loom. So knitting, and then again we're going to purl. Purl. Knit. The ones that don't have, for this section, the ones that don't have a stitch marker on them, you're going to knit them. The ones that have the stitch markers on them now, we're going to purl them. But we're only going to do it for this section because next section we will switch it up again. Like I said, knit, purl. Again, you're going to pick it up, put your working yarn, which would be the yarn at the bottom. You're going to pick that up, purl, knit, purl, knit. And it's very important that you don't forget the pattern that you're using. So if you want to make it easier, you can say, because this is your brim, you could say row 1, so you could put because the first one that you started with, you knitted with. So K1 for row 1, that lets you know what row you started with. So this is row 2, so you could put row 2 KP because you started with the purl. That's another way you can keep up with what you started. That way you won't get sidetracked, because sometimes you will have to walk away, especially for those that have kids. And if you don't plan to get this done in one setting, you will forget. So having your little sticky notes does work, especially if you are forgetful like me. I have to have little sticky notes, especially if I have to walk away, because I do have 4 boys. So and we're going to knit, and we're going to do it pretty much the same amount of rows, so which is 11, but you can shorten them up if you want to, you could do 10, you can do 8, you can do 9. It's whatever that works for you, however you want your hat to look. This hat could be longer or it can be shorter. At the end of this video, I will attach another hat that I did that was just like this, but it was longer, and I did a color change. So now we're back right here. So remember, we just had one. Now we're going to press for 2, and we're going to purl instead of knit. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to fast forward, and when we get to the next row, I will show you that as well. Okay, so I'm back right here again. So I'm going to keep doing that same pattern I did before, which was I'm going to purl and I'm going to knit. The ones on the ones that have the stitch markers, I'm going to purl, and the ones that are empty, I'm going to knit. So if you want to see where you are, because we have done this already, we are considered on this row. So if you count, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're right here. So when I get on the 4th row, I will come back and I will show you how to close your hat off. But like I said, just keep alternating with starting with knitting, start purl, start knitting, start purl. Okay, so when I come back after the 4th row, I will show you how to close up your hat. Okay, so we are back. So like I said, you would have need to do exactly, I'm going to call them rows. So you would have need to have done 1, 2, 3, 4 of the alternating. So this is what you should have so far. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we are going to make the top of the hat. So the top of the hat, we're just going to go back to that same pattern. We're not going to alternate anymore. We're just going to follow the directions as where the pegs are and where they're not. So again, to close out your hat and to make a top part, 2 pegs right here. So you would knit them, then you would purl these, then you would knit, then you would purl. So I did 10 rows of each. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, and I'm going to do another 10 rows of knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and that's how we're going to close the hat out. So you would end up having 50 rows. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, and what we're going to do now, which is the top of this hat, will be 50. So like I said, if you have any questions about what to do, and because the last row that we did, I stopped on 10, so I'm going to hit reset. I'm going to hit reset, and I just did my first peg over here, so I'm going to hit 1. So I want to keep track of how many I'm knitting, how many rows I'm going to have. So like I said, if you have any questions down below, please post them. And like I said, we're just going to continue on our same routine. We're not changing any more rows. These are the last 10 rows. After this, we will close the hat, and On this one, I will attach a pom-pom to it, so I will show you so you can see what it looks like with a pom-pom and without a pom-pom. The pom-poms that I'm going to be using are the fox fur pom-poms. I will leave a link down below where you can get those from. And I will show you how to attach that. So like I said, for your last row, we're just going to keep doing what we were doing, which was knitting 2, purling 2, and you know you have that 3, that odd one added, so that one would be purling when you come around to it. Just keep going on about your same routine. Nothing will change. We're done with the change stages and the alternating. This is where we wrap up the hat. So like I said, we just keep going until we come back around, and every time we come back to right here, this is where you would need to hit your row counter to count it as another row. So I'm going to finish out this row, and then I will come back when it's time to bind off and to add the pom-pom, and then that would be the end of the hat. Again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. And if you don't like the video, just keep on scrolling by. So yes, please make sure you subscribe. Please tell your friends to subscribe. My goal is to really hit 1,000 subscribers. So yes, keep in mind, give your new YouTube starters a chance. I think we don't support those that start channels because we're so used to the ones that have all these subscribers, and I just say support a small YouTuber that you have not supported before. You never know, they could brighten up their day. Who knows? So we're back at this again, and I'm going to hit the row counter again. That's going to count as row, going around the second time. So again, I will be back when we are done and to attach the pom-pom. Okay, so we're back. So again, you would do 10 rows. So now we're done. You don't need your row counter anymore. Now you will need, again, your hook. You're going to need a crochet hook, anyone that you would like. You will need a tapestry needle. I like these because the hole is bigger. And this is what you should have so far. Okay. And you will need a pom-pom. Again, you can either make you a pom-pom or you can get the pack of pom-poms off of Amazon. I will leave a link down below for that. And you will need scissors. So on this one, we will do just a regular cast off. I will link the video down below of the beanie that I made where you can do the decreases. I'm not going to do that on this video. So like I said, you can go back and look at that video on how to decrease, and you could actually decrease on this. It will still be the same thing. So like I said, normally when you get ready to take a hat off, they say go all the way around. I don't. I'm a thrifty little lady, so I go halfway around because I don't need all that extra. So like I said, you go halfway around. I'm kind of like halfway a little bit, but I stop right here. So now it's time to take these off. So like I said, you just pick it up, pull it through, and because it will get short because I did not have a long, I didn't wrap it all the way around. So I'm going to take this first one off to loosen it up. And this is how I take mine off. I do a couple at a time. I never take the one off before this one. So I will take this one off. I could take this off. I could actually take that off. So long as it's on that one that you have left before the one that you're getting ready to take off, you are good. And that kind of brings the hat in, because like I said, you can go all around and you don't have to worry about it, but because I don't like having that extra long piece of string hanging, I just do it in half. And I keep doing this all the way around. But for a beginner, I would say wrap your yarn all the way around, just so you don't have any issues and your stitch markers may fall off. That is perfectly fine, because we are done. Yay. Like I said, a beginner can do this. Like I said, I highly suggest that you watch the video all the way through. That way you could get a good idea of what you're doing. Sometimes the stitch markers can be in the way. So that is normal. And as you can see, I still have all of this to get. So that's why I said taking this off as you go will help. You're just pulling it, and sometimes the yarn does what it wants to do. So, like I said, I'm going to show you how to put that pom-pom on. And like I said, you can make your own pom-pom. You don't necessarily, this is not mandatory that you do a pom-pom, and it's not mandatory that you have a fox fur pom-pom. You can make you a pom-pom. I have a video on how to make a pom-pom. So don't be afraid to go back and look at my videos. Okay. And I do have trimmers, so if you're saying, geez, why is she shaking? It's not because I'm nervous. I just have trimmers and I have to work through it. So don't fret, don't be afraid. And as you can see, it is coming off. And you're going to need that string as well. So that's why you have just enough, because you're going to bring that together with the pom-pom. And also they do have a snap-on pom-pom. You can wash this before you give it to someone. Please read the directions on your yarn. I do say that you wash it in a lingerie bag, and I do say you flat block it. That means you put it on the mat and let it dry itself. Never put acrylic in the dryer, especially on high heat. Okay, and as we are coming to a close, again, don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with someone, all of that good stuff. And as you can see, stitch markers are popping off already, which is totally fine. And you can do this on any size loom. So if you wanted to do a baby hat like this, you could do that. Okay, and it is off of the loom now. So now you have this. So we're going to put this away. Okay, and we're just going to kind of move it around a little bit. Now it looks like the other hat. So you see you have this. Just put your string in the middle, turn it inside out, pull it, pull until you cannot see anything. You have to make sure the hole is really little. For the first, you want to stitch this on here a couple of times. Put both through the darning needle, tapestry needle, and you just want to go around in circles to ensure that this does not come apart, and you just want to pull it. Okay, and you just want to keep going around here, and I'm going to go around one more time, because at this point we're going to put the pom-pom on, and the pom-pom will hide everything, and that means that this is on here secure, so you can't even see anything. So we're going to take that off. You're going to find this part of your pom-pom. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. So you're going to pull that. You're going to, or I'm going to attempt to, now, as you can see, I put that loop in there. So this is the other end that I'm holding. So now, oops, and again, sorry for all the shaking. Go back on the outside of the hat, not the inside, but the outside. Put that directly in the middle. And as you can see, I'm still holding this, but because just pull this on there, on that tapestry needle even more, and now it's just on there. So now you're just going to pull it up, and this part can be a struggle. And of course, if you're not careful, it comes out. So we are going to try this again. Okay, so I think I'm going to do this off camera, because yeah, or unless I can get it to act right. So again, I got it back in there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put my crochet hook on the inside of here, and I'm going to put that on there, and I'm just going to pull the whole thing through. That way I don't have to worry about this coming apart. And as you can see, the tapestry needle is right here. Okay, normally I don't have this kind of issues, so I don't know what is wrong with today. Ouch. Or I can just get my crochet hook, grab it right here, put my hook on the inside of that, right in between, and there. It came off, but it came off on this side, the side that I wanted it to come off of. So, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this, and I am going to just tie it in a couple of knots, and that should be it. And just kind of pull that knot down, but don't pull it too tough because this will break. That's why I say if you don't like going through, if you know you're not going to want to go through all of this, please get you the ones that button on, the snap button, which I may start doing just because of my trimmers. Some days are worse than others. So that is on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that, and that is on there, and here is the pom-pom. And for here, you just pull this a little bit, and you are going to either get your tapestry needle. You either get your tapestry needle, or you can use your crochet hook, and you can just go through the loop, make a knot, or you don't have to make a knot, but you can go on the inside of here, weave it in, and then cut it off. So yeah, and that is how that will look. So now you have a pom-pom, you have the hat that has the pom-pom, and then now you have one that doesn't. Again, I hope that you all like this video. I hope that you subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and again, I will see you next tutorial. Bye.